So I figured since I've been flying the 262 a little bit here and there, what I would do is a video kind of on using one, how I use one. Again, everybody's going to use it slightly different. So essentially what I use it for is the same way it was used in World War II. You essentially intercept aircraft with it. It's a point defense again. So what I decided to do is usually when an enemy has overwhelming numbers, as you can see here, and there are a lot of late war fighters, or a bunch of P-51s, P-47s, ZX, D-9s, all that kind of stuff, and I don't want to get shot down 12,000 times. I'll take up a 262 and just buzz through and just generally just cause mayhem, just cause problems for people. So what you want to do is you don't want to lift on the field, obviously, that has the problem, this infestation of aircraft. You want to take off from a field that's relatively safe. A-17 is fairly behind it. You want to take full fuel. Don't fart around and take a quarter fuel. Take full gas. Take off from a proper field. Now, one of the things to take into account is it's very, very slow to get speed and things. So what you want to do is have plenty of time and plenty of room to get that speed up. And the 262 will get you out of all sorts of jams. All you have to do is just be planning ahead and be ready for it. So what we want to do is, we got a good open terrain here, and we're going to go ahead and just level out. We're going to let the aircraft just gain speed. Don't try to auto climb from here because it's going to dive for the earth when you do it. The autopilot will dive you towards the ground to try to gain enough speed for it to zoom climb. Don't do that. Just level out, let it get about 350, 400 miles an hour, and climb on your own. Just back pressure on the stick, get you some more altitude, level out. Get you some more altitude, level out. Get you some more altitude, level out. Depending on where the fight's at, you can come in there at 20,000 feet if you want, or you can come in there at 10,000 feet. It's really up to you. So we're doing about 350, indicated says 321, but our red ticker says about 350. So we're going to kind of pull more into the direction of the actual field. And we're going to go climb just a little bit here, bleed off some of this speed here as we make our climb. Now obviously the dreaded Swallow here is armed with 4 30mm cannons, and you got a good amount of ammo. But you have to remember your lob as you come in there, and if you've flown the K4 at all, then just think about having 4 of them in the nose on an extremely fast aircraft. That throws a whole lot of business in the game as far as planning on angles and shooting and that kind of stuff. So now right now we're within a radar circle, so we're relatively safe to kind of do what we want to. So I'm going to go ahead and level out again. I'm going to let the airspeed get up to cruise. And what we want to be thinking about is what we're going to do once we get here. Well, usually a fly through the area is pretty good to start with, because then everyone's suddenly going, oh my god, 262, 262, 262. And everyone's freaking out about the 262, which is good, because that's kind of what you're there for, in my opinion. You're partially there to cause mayhem. The other thing we're here for is to catch people who are farting around who aren't quite paying attention. If a person is paying attention and you're flying the aircraft at its speed, honestly, you should never really hit anybody unless you're just ungodly good at shooting, and they really let you have a long lead up to make a good shot out in front. That being said, hitting bombers is a heck of a lot easier, and there are several sets of them coming in here, so that's kind of going to be our priority, because 2 things is, number 1, they're going to be watching for us, and 2, we'll hit them while they're dropping bombs. We're reducing their bomb load that they have available to hit with, and they're going to be worried about us, and that's going to mess up their timing. And just overall just causing problems. Well, we had radar, now we've lost it. So as we enter this sector, we want to start watching for things. We want to go ahead and have our speed up and ready to go. That way we can escape. about that. So what we want to do is we come into these engagements, we're going to start looking for fighters and things that are farting around, bombers that are low altitude. A lot of times once the enemy fighters have air superiority in the area, the bombers they're not going to climb a whole lot. They're going to come in at the standard altitude, 10, 15,000 feet maybe, and come in and make their little bombing passes and head to the house in relative safety. What messes with them is that when a 262 starts showing up in the area, that pretty much gets disseminated fairly quickly. Everyone says, hey, everybody look out, it's 262, blah, blah, blah. And so if the enemy's really on top of their business, they'll pretty much keep you busy the entire time, but at the same time you're keeping them busy. And you want to come in, you want to be doing your good good checks of the area, making sure that no one's on your high 6 or anything like that. And so you can be caught. Yeah, P-47s, P-51s, D-9s, all those aircraft can get up fast enough to catch you. If you're cruising along at this altitude at only about 400 miles an hour or so, the bad guys can't catch you. But usually, they're not going to maneuver at high speed as well as you are. So one good turn, usually a lot of times, if they turn with you, they're going to bleed a lot of their speed, and then now you're on the same level field as far as energy, and then you're going to take off. As long as they don't close around 200 and just waylay the shit out of you. So as we come to the area, we want to start scanning for targets. It's a little bit hazy, but we should ID them as they appear kind of there. So there's a set of B-26s.
Now.
So now
Check it.
we can see that they're turning into us. So what we're going to do is, instead of letting them shoot us in the face, we're actually going to kind of maneuver out of the way here. And I didn't pull enough lead. That's going to be Shano, who was shooting at me earlier. I actually shot up.
We got a lot of stuff coming.
Shot at my jet earlier. I snap rolled it thinking that would be cool, and it sure as hell wasn't. He shot the hell out of me. And I had to, that's why I had to head home early, even though I had bullets. So we're going to come in here, we're going to start checking our high 6, making sure there's nothing flying past us. And we're going to start looking for targets that are over the field here and scanning. And I think my render distance is kind of low here. Yeah, here we go. So we got a 109 under us there. 190. Aoife, check it.
Hands are dead, box man.
Damn.
Oh, you got him, good.
Verbal got by me. He's heading towards the town.
Pony. L.A. Voodoo. Check L.A.
Check Woody.
Long, but he's coming. Oh, Rocky again.
Who's that, 51?
Yeah, Rocky's 51.
Yeah, roger. Let's see if I can hit these B-17s. Alright, so we're coming up here on a...
Tank to the right here.
Man, a kind of an angled shot here.
Hello, L.A. Trooper, check it. Mav, L.A. and 109. Check it, Mav. 190 coming in on the field.
217's down. Oh, third 17. Oh, did you see that shit? Oh.
Trooper, check it. Mav, check it.
I'm at an 820.
B-26 is down low.
Four iron. Town. He's right here.
Silent, they like you. We ain't coming fast, Silent. Pins are just up on the hillside.
Got him.
Four dead.
Silent, check.
But Bummer and B-26s. Wow, how's he keeping his drones?
pilot unit. I lit them up pretty good.
Whenever we make a little roll like that over the top, you want to be real careful that nobody's on you because you're going to bleed a lot of speed.
Trooper, check it. Check a trooper.
Left southwest.
Yeah, for ammo.
RTB BBs.
Watch 190 right wing.
You guys keep the fighters off me, I gotta resupply.
So now we've taken some more damage. We want to be thinking about where we need to go. First, we're going to try and kill these damn B-26s, and he got them, so good.
Panzer right here. Iron Panzer right here underneath me. Panzer.
So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're exfilling the area before this engine gets to a critical point.
Panzer T-34 and Werble coming from the spawn right there to the left of Iron.
Whenever you're making attacks like that, a lot of times you're going to end up overshooting, and if you don't get a shot on them, you want to be real careful when you come out underneath them, because there's a good chance that you could get shot and killed. That guy was real focused on getting away from me. He wasn't really paying attention, so that's always good.
Field in for VH.
Shoot, get to the runway.
Gifa, watch out 109.
Took the end of the runway.
Werble and a Panzer coming into town.
Sounds like flying.
No friendlies there either.
I'll turn around and try to get there.
Bombing at it. Werble keeps knocking me off. Huh? Black right underneath me now.
So we're down to
Got me again. Damn it.
low cannon. It's getting kind of hairy around here, so we'll go ahead and start making our escape.
Great defense, fellas.
Bubba in that flag. He needs to kill that flag.
Bugsy, I speak with you.
So anytime you're going to take damage in the 262, or anytime that you end up taking damage, you want to be
Right
looking
here
for
on
an
top of
exit.
the hill, M3.
We could press this attack. Now we've got this 190 to deal with.
Reagan, the runway.
Paying attention. It's good, kind of hairy here. Oh, got a C-47 out here I'm trying to kill. My location.
Ain't climbing the hill here. I climb the hill. See both.
Hands T-34.
How if I get there? We're quite a ways away.
Fortunately, the 47 is not paying attention.
run into T-34 or
Feel that M3 is right over here.
I see a T-34.
Did you get that M3 that was right there?
That pans are climbing the hill, almost to the top of the hill towards the town.
M4. M3 right here underneath me somewhere. I was just shooting at. Right here. Fishy, right here.
Anytime that you make that dive towards the earth there, be very, very careful. Be ready to apply your throttle before you need it. Be ready to pull your throttle as you enter the maneuver, before you enter the maneuver. And then be ready with those flaps.
Those trees still there. It's going to be FB Reagan.
Why is it delivered? I'm heading back.
So I know the landing area at A16 there should be relatively safe. We're going to lose this other engine, so we're going to be slower. We're going to go ahead and get back to the house quickly. Get these kills landed. So obviously when you're coming in there, you're looking for these targets you can get in with, get after. This is not much of a training video, but this is a good walkthrough on a 262. Kind of what I'm doing when I come through there. A lot of those low-speed maneuvers and stuff I was doing, it's only because there wasn't anybody else. There's a whole lot of DAR in the area, but there wasn't much outside of that, which was kind of surprising to me. Okay, so we lost our number one engine. As we're going to start noticing that the speed will start dropping off a little bit since we've lost that one engine. We just have drag really coming off of it. But that's not too bad, to be honest with you. A little bit of drag is going to help us get in there to land. And I made this, my last landing was at this, was A16. It's fairly good once to come in to land at. It's not very good to take off from, but it's good to land at. Could be worse, but so we're going to make our approach on there. So we're looking for the runways there. And I don't think those runways are orientated that way. They could be, but I don't believe that they are. I think that one of the runways is running almost north-south. So that's something that you usually want to set up for a good flyby to get a good idea of where the runways are actually at. So if you're landing at another field, then, or you're landing at the same field several times, making sure no one's trailing you back from base is always a good thing. So keeping an eye on your low 6, just to make sure another 262, a 190 from up high, LA, something like that's not going to track you down as you're slowly trundling back to base. Of course, we're doing 365 miles an hour, but that's still fast enough for an aircraft with a little bit of altitude to catch you. And with one engine down, you can definitely be tagged as you're in here landing. And you're very vulnerable while you're landing, so it's important that you keep an eye out. So having a good base with radar up is always a plus. That way, if there is a target, you can slip out on the deck and head to another field. Never be afraid to leave and head to another field. And so that's where it's important to keep an eye on your fuel. Right now we're at half a tank, we're about out of cannon. And it's usually about a quarter tank. Half tank, you want to be looking at heading home. If you still got ammo and stuff, quarter tank, you need to leave. Don't fart around, don't play around, because the thing you don't want to do is rush any of your landings, because you will botch them if you rush them, I'm telling you. So we're looking for the field here. I've got my draw distance kind of low because my poor system is about had it. I've been cutting out on min stuff and crashing, but trying to do now is locate. It should be here at our 1 o'clock roughly. Should be right here in front of us actually. So there's the field, and I know from my last landing that that actually is orientated correctly with the map there, so more or less. Yeah, it's pretty good. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to bypass it. We're going to make the same maneuvers I made before. In the last one I had to do a lot of S-turns and a lot of rudder work to get it slowed down quite a bit. And you really want a nice, long, drawn-out landing approach, especially when you first start flying the 262, because it takes a lot of work, especially with the slats, lost engine, damaged parts. It takes a lot of work to get one of these things down successfully on a very short runway, which is what that runway, the runway I'm going to land on is the shorter of the two. In reality, you want to give yourself plenty of room to stop. It's got a long rollout, and so we don't have any parachutes here to deploy, so the one I'm heading for is going to be the shorter of the 2 runways. So this is about where I was at before. So we're going to go ahead and reduce throttle. I'm going to nose up a little bit, which is what I did not do last time. As I'm moving through this turn, you hear that it's spooled all the way down, so I'm going to start applying some throttle and coming back with it. And that's one of the things that's very, very important with the 262 is the power management. You've got to be ready to start adding and taking power away before you need it. You have to add the power before you're going to need it. You got to decrease the power before you need to. So you kind of have to be about 2 steps ahead of the aircraft, which is how you should always be, but you have to be quite a bit more with this aircraft. So what we're going to kind of do is play the nose off a little bit. We've got a lot of right rudder in here. And we're trying to get below that 200 miles an hour, really and truly. That's where we want to try and get that 3rd notch of flaps. And we need our landing gear. So we're going to go ahead and get that landing gear out. And we want that 3rd notch of flaps. Once we've got that 3rd notch of flaps out, check your gear. Make sure your gear is all green. Then we can go ahead and start applying power, lining back up with the runway. We've got plenty of power, so we're going to go ahead and reduce that. Still got some rudder. We're going to play that rudder to center. And we're looking to line it up in line with the runway. Remember that you have tricycle landing gear, so as soon as you're down, push your stick all the way forward. This is going to lock your tail wheel and start your brakes. And be ready with your rudder pedals. And be very gentle with them and just apply just what you need, but keep those brakes on. Because you've got a long rollout and you need to stop. Now, when you make your line, so obviously if we were going to overrun the runway. Now I made this landing earlier about 20 minutes ago. If you were going to overrun the runway, what you do is point yourself between those 2 sets of trees there and roll up that hill and keep the aircraft, keep the brakes on, keep your rudder done, keep your stick pushed forward, because if you keep your stick pushed forward, that locks your nose wheel and won't allow it to flop out of control and stuff. Let this rascal slow all the way down. Don't turn your engine off or nothing. Let it come to a stop. Then just turn around and taxi back to the field. I can't tell you how many times I've taxied back to the field. So be ready for that. Now, if you're about halfway down the runway and you're not comfortable, give that sun gun some power and get out of there. Be careful when you go to make your initial turn. Keep the damaged engine high. So you'd make a right-hand turn in this instance because this engine is good, this engine was bad. And so it would be opposite the other way. And you want to keep the affected engine high. You want to keep the damaged engine to the high side and make your turn away from it. So if this engine is damaged, I want to make a right-hand turn into my good engine and make me a nice, slow, controlled turn, come back around, keep most of my flaps out, line back up for the runway, and bring it back in. So don't be afraid to go around and do it over again because, that's just, it happens. The other thing is don't be afraid to lose them. I mean, if you got points, you don't have a lot of points, I can understand it, but at the same time, if you don't risk it, you'll never do anything with it. So the only way to learn how to fly it is to get out there and do it.